Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. My name is Devan Klein. I'm the visionary co-founder of Burn Bootcamp, and I'm pumped up to be here because Morgan and I, we did a thing. We wrote a book. And thank you to Hachette International, Hachette Goer Imprint for publishing with us and with Burn. Listen, this branded book with Burn on it is our 5-step strategy to inner and outer strength. And it has 5 categories: burn, believe, nourish, achieve, and connect. Today, we're going to talk about achieve, but you can go back in the last couple weeks here, the last, 3 or 4 weeks, and we've got a podcast for you on an overview, and then we've got one on each section, all right? And we'll have one more after this, so make sure that you stay tuned just to get the headline, the cliff notes, the introduction to what this book really is. We have 14 amazing members they're real members. They've shared their story. I'll tell you a little bit about Cynthia's story today here in the achieve section that we're going to go over. But let me just go ahead and tell you that this thing is on Amazon right now as a pre-order. And if you were to go to Amazon, let's say you were to purchase our pre-order, we dropped June 18th, 2024. And if you were to screenshot this book and send it to Devan.Klein on Instagram, I will send you a hard copy signed by Morgan and I when the actual books drop on June 18th, 2024. Okay? Make sense? Say yes? All right, so let's get into Achieve and what this is all about. Okay, so chapter 4, the Achieve strategy is highlighted by Cynthia's story. And I wanted to read Cynthia's story here for you right out of the gate here in chapter 4. It said, cancer, COVID-19, a broken marriage. These tragedies hit Cynthia from our Fayetteville, Georgia camp all in a row. And it's a wonder how she coped. But not only did she cope, she got through these tough times. Cynthia was focused and goal-oriented, which allowed her to overcome these challenges. Here's her story, and a story of how we can let tragedy destroy us and make us bitter or make us stronger. Cynthia had always been athletic, a self-professed workout junkie. Even after the pandemic hit in 2020, she continued her workouts faithfully at home and on Zoom. That same year, her husband took a job in South Carolina, and the family moved to a small, isolated community. The marriage was already failing. The move did not help. She found herself in a relationship where she had given up her own ambitions and passions, which took her confidence and self-worth with it. She realized this was a partnership that was working for only the good of one. Then in June 2021, Cynthia received devastating news that shook her world. Quote, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My world shattered. I went from biopsy to surgery to chemo very quickly, she recalled. The chemo crushed my body for 2 months. I was nauseous all the time. I lost strength, and my body was fully drained, and I was in constant pain. I was fighting for my life every single day. During this time, Cynthia separated from her husband. Medical bills piled up. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, she felt that she was in an unyielding storm. Unbelievably, she kept her focus on fitness. She continued to work out, but used exercise modifications her trainers put together for her. She found solace in 2 places, her loving family and her friends at the gym. They became her pillars of strength, reminding her that a vibrant life was waiting for her beyond the shadows of cancer and heartbreak. At one very low point, she realized she didn't have the money to afford her membership, her lifeline. That's when another member stepped in and paid for a full year of workout on her behalf. At the beginning of 2023, Cynthia entered into one of our Burn Bootcamp challenges, a friendly competition to help members realize how capable they are of exceeding their fitness expectations. We call it Level Up Games. She stuck with it. She did not once give up on her workout or herself. Quote, life was very different then, but I did not get this far to throw in the towel. Even baby steps moved me forward. Sure, the challenges were hard, but my burn sisters supported me and helped me complete it. It was the most exhilarating experience, and in that moment, I knew I was going to make it. Cynthia stayed focused on achieving one goal, returning to the strength she had in 2020. As her body healed, her heart healed from the pain of her failed marriage. She realized how much of her independence she had given up to prioritize her husband's happiness. Now she had the ability to make choices that aligned with her goals, chart her own paths, and define her worth on her own terms. Okay, and I'll stop there. Her story goes on, but this is where most of us end up being at some point in our lives. An opportunity to take back our life, to reset the goals, and as she says in her quote, and to define her terms and her worth on her own terms and to chart her own path. And that's what this achieve section rather is all about. We teach you how to set and how Cynthia set what we call North Star goals. If you had no limitations, no consequences, and you could go live the perfect day, one day over and over and over, and you were to write a story about what that day would look like, how you would feel, more importantly, on that day, that is what a North Star goal is. And we teach you how to write that. We teach you what the difference between push motivation and pull motivation is, how having a vision of the future isn't good enough. You also have to have something in your past that you've experienced, that you've realized is pushing you forward. Something you're running away from is probably more important than something you're running to. But you need to have both push and pull motivation. And Cynthia, once she got out of a relationship that wasn't working for her and she overcame her battle with cancer, she now had something to run away from. I'm never going back to that relationship. I'm never going back to that lifestyle. And I'm going to have this pull motivation that you'll read if I were to continue with her story. That is an enchanting vision of the future. Okay. And obviously the whole concept of Burn Bootcamp is small, mini actionable wins. We talk a lot about that in the Nourish chapter from last week, but this strategy here, strategy 4, Achieve, it really brings forward what Cynthia found, which was that she had to set a goal in every element of her life. She couldn't just be this fitness enthusiast and hang her hat on, that part of her life. There's more to life than that. And so we bring forward in this chapter what we call the burn lifestyle. And we've never really languaged it this way before this book. So we're hoping that this chapter really brings forward something that Burn members can say is the Burn lifestyle. We've always kind of said it, like what it actually means, but we define it in this book, what it means. And it's 8 pieces of the pie: body, mind, emotion, spirit, relationships, as highlighted in this story with Cynthia, time, work, and money. And these are 8 areas of your life that if you don't put if you don't get positive momentum or progress in these 8 areas, in all 8 areas, then your life won't be congruent. Your lifestyle will feel off and you won't know why. And so we're giving you the blueprint to basically audit your lifestyle against the Burn lifestyle. And it doesn't have to be the Burn lifestyle. It can just be a lifestyle, a way to look through the lens of what is my life. And as I answer this North Star question, this 20-year vision, this ideal perfect day, as if I was to live it over and over and over, what would I think about? How would that feel when I thought about it? Where would I be? Who would I be with? Like all these things. Now I've got 8 buckets of information that I can actually pull from to start to design that day. And that's what our real pull motivation is. So we teach you to think big. We teach you to take your moonshots, all the things that make burn, and that make Morgan and I, we try to put that into this Achieve section to motivate you, but to also help you set goals. So, guys, I travel so much and I sit with so many groups of people, especially in our gyms. When I go to a gym, I'll sit there for an hour and just talk to people afterward. And even in groups, I'll ask, how many of us could show me your goals written down on a piece of paper right now? Only 2%, y'all, on average. 2 out of every 100 people say that I could show you my goals written on paper. It's usually about 20% when I say, hey, who has specific goals in this room? Raise your hand. About 20% will say, I got my hand raised. When I say, now you've got to show it to me right now on paper if I call on you, only about 2% raise their hand after that. We are teaching you how to take what's common knowledge, how to understand the why behind it so that you can actually buy into this whole goal setting thing, because it is what directs your life. Progress is happiness, and this is a huge part to the Burn Bootcamp strategy. Number 4 is Achieve, okay? I'm coming with another podcast on our very last strategy, the Connect strategy that holds all the glue together, that holds the community together, the glue that does so, rather, for you next week. So be here. I'll see you then. Okay, make sure you pre-order on Amazon. Send me those screenshots. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.